Topic 6, Accountability Conversations. Hi Ellie. Now we're still on our coaching topics. So we talked about the GROW model. We then moved on to the motivation side of things. Once we've set our goals, we're motivated using that AMP model. As I understand it, you've got another couple of tricks up your sleeve about how to keep the momentum going.
Yes, Liz, absolutely. I think what we need to talk about is accountability. So we can put everything in place, we can have really, really good conversations, but we've got to make sure that we have accountability. And there's, kind of two ends to accountability, really. There's that command and control, which we don't want to see, and then there's that personal responsibility where we take accountability for the work that we do, for the actions, who we are, what we say and what we do. So what we want to do is really encourage what we call the accountability ladder, from moving from more sort of a blame and a victim mentality of it's not my fault or this didn't go well. We want to shift up the ladder or up the rungs to make sure that we're taking a proactive approach. And that can be asking for help, that can be checking in, that can be making sure that we're seeking help where we need it, but we're taking ownership and accountability for our own patch of the work.
So what are those rungs?
So the rungs really around the accountability, it kind of shifts again from that blame and avoidance to going up. So the lower rungs are really around denial or blaming others and making excuses. And again, when we start to move up the ladder, we start to kind of shift from taking responsibility, making things happen, learning from our mistakes, and creating ownership and accountability. So what we want to do is really kind of encourage that in our people, and we can do that through coaching conversations, but stepping in and having those really good conversations early with people.
Right. So you've got them motivated. Is it then a set and forget? Can you just walk away and trust the job will be done?
No. Again, sometimes as leaders we do need to step in, and that's when we talk about what we call the accountability dial. So what we want to do is make sure we're not stepping in too hard and too fast, but we're turning up the dial depending on what we're seeing. So the accountability dial starts with very low. It could be some nudges, some quick or casual conversations to raise awareness. Then it could be around an invitation, so a respectful check-in, explore what's going in. Then it might move to a bit more of a direct conversation to kind of think about what's going on, what's happening, what's not. This is what I'm seeing. So again, using our feedback conversations, again, being assertive, being clear about what we're seeing and perhaps what we're not, and asking again, is there anything that you need? Is there anything that's stepping in your way? And then really what we might kind of think about is a boundary conversation where we're setting perhaps some warning or some gateposts. We're saying this needs to happen by when, and then we kind of go to those more formal conversations. So the dial kind of helps us shift to where we need to be. So we don't go straight to the top of the dial. What we do is we start down the bottom of the dial and then we turn it up depending on what we're seeing and what we're hearing back as well. So it is a two-way conversation, it's consultation.
Yep, very good. So what would be your key takeaways for our viewers here?
So again, we want to communicate goals, responsibilities, accountabilities early and make sure that they're understood. And that's again having that two-way conversation. We want to, of course, step in and address issues early and proportionately. So we don't want to jump right to the top. What we do, start at the bottom, perhaps have a little bit of a nudge to begin with. And we want to model accountability ourselves. So if we see a mistake, we need to own our own mistakes. We need to be vulnerable. We need to make sure we follow through and model really good behaviours as a leader as well, because people look to their leaders, particularly around accountability.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And too often it's leaders perhaps not kind of holding the mirror to themselves around how they're showing up. And we've talked about the leadership shadow in some of our past conversations and the shadow that we cast as a leader. So people can kind of either be dimmed by our shadow or they can be really, really safe under our shadow. So people take their cues from their leaders. And that goes really and speaks to accountability as well. So if we want it, we also have to give it, and we also have to model it as a leader.
Right. And do we have a downloadable for this?
Yes, we do. So this one's got quite a bit in it. There's lots of really good phrases. There's lots of things to watch out for. So this gives you a lot of information to help you think about the accountability ladder and the accountability dial, and what you can see as a leader and what you can do to help create a culture of accountability that's psychologically safe within your workplace.
Very good. Thank you. Once again, very enlightening.
Thanks, Liz.
Thanks, Ellie.